Today we'll be discussing majorly on human face recognition as a webinar topic. So I'll be covering a wide range of topics, which will be kind of an intro to you and also in depth in few of cases from which you can pick up things and start exploring on your own and drive through this very interesting field as such in data science. So let's just begin. So to introduce you, majorly the face recognition is a task that we usually do using humans and some level of automation like cards, tags, etc., which we carry across around in the platforms. Just to give an example, in colleges, we have our ID cards, which will be manually validated either by the people surrounding who are part of the security, or we use certain RFID sensors so that we can get the access to the given room or an area. But human face recognition is a typical technology which has come up in a recent past, where actually you are having a biometric system which is done automatic and the security is an enhanced thing. So just to categorize broadly, we have three kinds of biometrics, which is physical, behavioral, and chemical. So physical biometrics includes features like face recognition, fingerprints, iris scans, major retina scans, and also hand geometry. And the behavioral biometrics includes your speech, the kind of gestures you make, your typical body posture behaviors, etc. And the chemical biometrics is basically your odor, chemical composition of human perceptions, etc. Actually, that is related more to a biology kind, which will be related to mostly forensics kind of stuff. But in general, we majorly depend on physical and behavioral biometrics. So face recognition has come up a major biometric technology, as I mentioned earlier, because in day-to-day life also we are using that technology rapidly in surveillance cameras, in mobile applications, which if you have some high-end mobiles, then your locking system is using your face. So yeah, similar kind of technology has been across web, mobile, and also in the backend of the cloud where the surveillance is happening. So first, just to give an first automated face recognition system was developed by Takeo Kanadi from Japan. His PhD thesis in 1973. So this technology way beyond, but the recent past developments are very progressive. So coming to overview of this webinar, basically, so face recognition is a science that involves the mechanism how to recognize the given face of a biological system by emulating that in your computer system. So I can understand the faces. I can recognize that person is so and so. For example, if he is my friend, I recognize him to be some friend like Ram. But I have to emulate this kind of technology to my computer system. So that's where this technology of face recognition comes up. And in our biology, we use our eyes as a major sensor to do all these kind of recognition and agent behaviors. But for our computer, our main sensor would be our cameras. And again, these cameras can be infrared, 3D scans, normal RGB cameras, mobile cameras, tablets, etc., etc. Now, the technology in itself is a very complex mathematical representation. So it uses certain things which are broadly explained as matching processes, facial feature comparisons, random feature based and photometric view based features. So basically, it's a feature matching process. And just to coming how the things will happen. So basically, we will be comparing the structure of the object, shapes, proportions of the face, distance between the eyes, nose, mouth, jaw, all the facial features which we generally map in our brains, we have to bring it to the computer thing using the mathematical models. The main facial recognition methods are the feature analysis, neural networks, that is our deep learning, eigenfaces, and automatic facing processes. So these are all kind of a mathematical modeling, which we will be introducing in this webinar. So yeah, coming to the fundamentals. So basically, we have two parts in the facial recognition. People majorly confuse between detection and recognition. Just to give an introduction, like how it happens. So face detection is a part you can be regarded as a specific case of an object classification or object detection. In object class detections, the task is to find the location, the region of interest, basically. So here in face recognition, your region of interest is a face of a human being. So here that is an object for you. You have to detect that region. And the face detection algorithm majorly focuses on the frontal human faces. That's how you can recognize a person, right? You can't recognize using the back of the head or the posture of the body. You have to combine that with the facial features, frontal facial features of that particular human being. So this is majorly the detection. Now you found out the region of interest. So this will be enhanced to the next level, that is your recognition part. Recognition is nothing but the mapping. So you have to map the detected face to a person whom we recognize that subject A, B, etc. So what we have to do, we have to store this detected face in a database. So this database actually accumulates the features of a given human being. So let's just say, for example, I have my database of frontal facial features, and I map these features to the name, ID, and so information to it. And this, the capable matching human face is using the video frames, the digital images from the databases, which we just tried to explain you. And just to give an basics, again, video and image. What is video? It's the number of images that are clubbed or combined in a time series. So whatever we do, image processing is a union set, and your video processing would be subset of it. So researchers currently are developing multiple methods to have a better, accurate, and precise facial recognition systems. Detection almost have gained its peak as per me. So we are able to classify, detect that particular region of interest, that is the face, to a better accuracy, let's say around 99%. But recognition is one where we have to do the mixing and matching. Because when you have the larger database, the problem becomes how do you match the features? So the most advanced facial recognition method, which is also employed to authenticate your identity verifications, are actually pinpointing and measuring the facial features of a given image. So what I mean to say is like, try to gather maximum features from this frontal face and come up with a better mathematical model where you can match these features against a given information of that particular human being. So these are the basic fundamentals which we need to remember in terms of pipeline of this particular system. So coming to this block diagram, let me explain one by one. So primary sensor for us would be the camera. So as I mentioned, it can be again any technology, 3D, 2D, whatever. So now to get the information, you have to convert the image into grayscale image. Why grayscale? This will reduce the computation as well also enhances the feature because you are clubbing all the channels information. So let's just say I have an RGB image. So they have red channel, green channel, blue channel, which give the color information of it. But grayscale, it's a normalized image of all these three channels into a single image. Once you are normalized, you get enhanced feature out of it so that you are averaging out. You don't have to do each pixel information. Once you average, you get a better results and the feature extraction processes. So once that is done, the next job is to detect the region of interest. So my region of interest is the face of this particular person. So I have got a bounding box here. So there where you can see that, okay, my face is been detected. Last part of the detection would be cropping of that region of interest. So here you want just the frontal face. So I have cropped to that particular, bounding box area. And I would be saving into a database. So second part, which we are called as facial recognition. So here we have again 4 to 5 steps. So before saving this, you don't have to save all the information of the given cropped ROI. So you need to do certain pre-processing steps. So why we need pre-processing steps? This is just to convert this information into certain data type or a format. If I just start saving all the images in the given format, my size of the cloud or the local storage system would exceed its capacity. We have to think in optimization as well. So for that, we need to do certain pre-processing steps. So once this pre-processing is done, we need to do a facial representation. So this is where you do the matching. So you have this storage, which is called as database. It can be cloud, it can be local PC, mobile, whatever. So here the facial represent is a mechanism or a model. You need to do this cropped image should be mapped to the label. The label can be your name, your ID, all the related stuff that is associated to the given human person, and then store that information into your data. Now the final algorithm or the model, which we call as classification. So you need to classify the detected face into the given ID. And finally, the recognition will happen. So this is basically the verification of the recognition. So I take the image, the whole process will happen. And finally, the ID pops up, either granting an access or rejecting an access to a given security system. So this is the overall, the block or the processes which we happen in the facial recognition pipeline. So coming to a quick demo. So this is done using Python OpenCV. I did it on my PC. So if you see, the bounding box is detected here as a face. So the red box is your bounding box and green bounding boxes are for the eyes. And the ID is flashing like Sagar. So this is my face, and I did a quick demo for you guys so that you understand how the system works better. So coming to the case study. So this is pretty interesting, and I think this is most likely you might have seen in the movies, the recent movies like Mission Impossible, so and so, where they use a high-tech information and the technology for accessing grant. So just to give the brief information, like let's consider we have a high-value sites like defense establishments, gold deposits, etc. So you need to have a restricted access. Having human to do this point of time is pretty, what do you say? Not possible due to pandemic, as well as it's a time consuming, and human beings are prone to fatigue and also the corrupt mindsets. As per se, I'm giving you all the possible problems that are associated with the manual processes. So coming to this system, what we can do, we can have a very accurate and a precise model which is encrypted end to end. So now you have a limited number of people who needs to be have an access to these particular sites like, so where we have also minimal burden on the database. Minimal burden on the database in terms of number of people. So you have a pretty good mathematical model because your inputs are less, but the size of the inputs might be increased. What I mean to say is, like, for a given person, you might have 1,000 images, but you have only 10%. So when you convert that, you only have 10,000 images of a given database. But if you have 100, then that exceeds to lakh. So again, that's computational thing which I'm talking about. That's the optimization we have to do. And in the controlled environment, it's really easy to establish such things and also manage to have the access and also establish such kind of a pipeline where pretty easy. So coming to this block model, I will explain one by one. So let's consider this as our high value site. Now there is a scientist who wants to enter into certain defense establishments to conduct his experiments, whatnot. So now he comes, stands in front of a given sensor. Let's consider a simple sensor here, camera. So the camera's job is to take the image. So as I said, it will take the image, just coming to the previous. So it will take the image, converts it to grayscale, and tries to find the region of interest. So let's consider it has found the region of interest, and this facial recognition system will be encrypted with the access or not. So once this information is captured, it will go to your security system and the database. So this is where you have all the information related to this person. So once the detection happens, the facial recognition system gets activated for that region of interest. Then that features will be matched and classified across the database and the security system. So what it does, the security system recognizes if the person is authentic. So that is the person you need to give the access. So it will send a communication granting the access. So let's say you have the cloud and all the things are integrated in that particular site. So the gate has to open now. So it will grant the access. So this is a very positive scenario wherein everything is smooth and the people are gaining access to the given site. So let's see the extreme other case of it. So I have a culprit who is trying to gain the access by fraud. So what my system does, let's say this is a person who is not a scientist and it doesn't want to be in that particular location, but he still comes, try to find a gain access to it. So comes, stands in front of the camera. So the security system gets activated. It does all the face detection, recognition, classification, whatnot, and the security system gets triggered. So here triggered, I means an alert. So this will send an information to everyone associated with this security system. And the notification goes saying that there has been a breach or there is an attempt to breach, saying that, okay, there has been unauthorized personnel in this particular thing. And this quickly fixes all the issues. So if you see, I can only have one person at the security position. I don't need to have multiple people. Everything can be done using technology. So this is one of the basic case studies. Similarly, you have a lot of, so let's come to the day-to-day activities. So we have our mobiles, right? So we have that face recognition apps. So the locking unlocking system is done by face apps. You don't have to even use your fingerprints at these times. So yeah, that can be also one of your case study. And this can be employed in the corporate sites which we are using so that you have the very feasible attendance systems as well. Also in the classrooms, wherein teacher doesn't have to take the attendance every day. The camera which is set in front of the children, the system recognizes and gives the attendance to each and everyone. And there is no problem of getting all these hazelnuts like, okay, I didn't mention my name, I forgot to call out people. These mismatches doesn't happen at all. So yeah, This is the kind of case studies we can build upon this human recognition systems. So thing is like these case studies can be built upon all the things like mobile access, which we commonly see in our mobiles, payment applications and public surveillance. This is related to banking stuff, the security, etc. So these can be part of your day-to-day activities and also a very good establishments like corporate schools, etc. And the recommendation system which I was talking quickly, I will reiterate. So let's say just say like I am watch Netflix and the camera is on and I am feeling pretty happy today. So the recommendation system works and recognizes my emotions by recognizing me as a person and try to recommend the topics or the films, all the information that is available on this Netflix, Amazon Prime, etc. So that these were emotions are matched with the kind of content you want to watch. So these can be the case studies which we can build upon for these human recognition systems. So there are quite a bit state of the art. State of the art actually happens to be the deep learning systems. So just to give the brief introduction of deep learning systems. So these are neural networks. Basically, let's just think our brain. So we have the neural nerves, which we call. So neurons are the key part of your brain structures. So whatever we think goes through it as a signal. And there are certain parts in the brain called cerebellum, etc., which you might have studied in your biology subjects. So there the information is stored and particular sensory organs is associated with it in order to come up with a system and try to have a better environment out of it. So that you have all these kind of sensory emotions, physical activities which you intend to do from your physical body. So similarly, the deep learning CNNs are the state of the art systems. So deep inside, these are nothing but a mathematical model, which is basically on your kernels, convolution matrices, and also the normal calculus, which gradient descent, backpropagation, etc. So these are all the parts of your CNNs. So what I mean to say is like the current state of the art for human recognition systems are your deep learning system. And the real gist and the current trends in term I can tell is like CNN feature adaptability and feature extraction efficiency. So there are a lot of features for a given human face, frontal face. So I need to be really good at adapting such feature. So just to name few, there are HAR features when it comes to OpenCV, Open Computer Vision. There are certain eigenface features for the mathematical models. So your CNN, the convolution neural network models should be really, really good in adapting such features in one go. And the feature extraction efficiencies, how well your CNN is able to extract such features. So it gives 100 features and the CNN will only digest the 50. Rest 50 of the features are being discarded. So the efficiency is by cut down by half. It's not a good system. In simple terms, just to give an active, I will try to teach some student a linear algebra. Let's just say I teach him the two methods of matrix multiplication and matrix addition, and the student's only able to grasp the matrix addition. Then my efficiency of that student is 50% because he's only able to understand one topic out of two. Similarly, this feature extraction efficiency should be increased. That's where we need to actually concentrate, because there are already established methods with 100% accuracy as well, wherein you can extract features, but feature efficiency is the next state of the arts which we need to look in. Just give a couple of examples which are as follows. So the data specific adaptive threshold for face recognition and authentication. This is one of the paper that is done across 2017 to 18. It has done multiple iterations. The authors have really tried to figure out such technology and algorithms, state of the arts. Then they slowly publish these things to outer domain for a minimal adaptability that we can do in our day-to-day activities. Just to give a brief intro of this paper. So this uses a technique called as adaptive threshold mechanism to improve the recognition accuracy. I got 90% accuracy, but what is that matching we want to do when we have a large data sets? So that's where you need to be really efficient, because see, when we have a system, it has to be real time. If it's not real time, then people won't be able to appreciate whatever effort you are putting it. So it should be really computationally good, optimized, real time. I mean, like if I have an input, the output should be within seconds. Even seconds is actually a say lagged system. It should be in milliseconds. So I have shared this particular heading of this paper. You people can note down and try to read through it once for basic things, because it's a huge topic in itself and we can't cover the everything. But I can just give a brief intro. Like adaptive threshold mechanism is a technique. So people who are having a background in computer vision might knowing like these are nothing but you have to average, you have to do mean mode, all the statistical models into the thresholding techniques. Combining these and the deep learning CNNs, they are trying to improve the accuracy of these recognition systems. So that's the paper all about. And you can read through and try to implement if possible. If you have all the data sets, the links, everything is available with this paper. And I will also be telling you the open source in further slides about this. So next one is ArcFace. So ArcFace, just to expand how it goes, it's an additive angular margin loss for deep face recognition. So deep face is again an established algorithm, which is pretty much open to everyone. So yeah, the process of additive angular margin loss or the ArcFace is actually a highly discriminative features for discriminative. Discrimination is nothing but like you have to trying to hold back something. It's actually in mathematical terms. Discriminative is okay, I have two unique features and I am trying to adapt this into this angular margin loss. So my margin loss should be very less. So accuracy is there. I need to make sure that it's optimized and also the loss is very, very less. So as I mentioned, you are only efficient in learning one topic, the accuracy is 50%. So let's just consider an alternative method. Try to figure out a way where I can teach the another topic with a better technique or something, and student is able to understand it. Actually using these discriminative features so that you make sure that loss is very minimal. And yes, these are all three-dimensional techniques that we use. So as of now, the three-dimensional is also people want to extract more features. So two-dimensional is only you have x and y coordinates. Once you introduce the third dimension, that is the depth. So there you get more of the features that could be extracted from it. So again, you can just go through this particular paper and learn more about it so that you have all the techniques. And just to give a brief intro, you can use the frameworks like TensorFlow, PyTorch, Caffe, Thano. So these are all the open source frameworks which we can readily available on the open source, and try to implement such certain papers so that you will be able to understand. The first paper was published as a part of PhD thesis by some guy called Kanade. So that's where he did his first thing using this template based geometric based things. So you might people have heard if you have background from computer science or computer vision. So what it does, it takes two images and try to match the features pixel by pixel or region by region. So similarly, we have statistical tools as well associated with it. And I will name few of them like SVM, this is support vector machine, principal component analysis, linear discriminant analysis, kernel methods for transforms. So all these 5 to 6 topics are purely mathematics. So these involves your matrix multiplication, kernel calculations, mathematical modeling. These are your basic topics. And all these topics are covered in linear algebra. So if you have the basic knowledge of such things, you will be able to understand all these topics. And to be frank, yeah, I'm just giving an intro to you, like how the things are evolved. You can actually make note of it and try to explore based on your interest, your ease of understanding in terms of mathematics. So yes, just make down of these 4 to 6 points in geometric based. And to explain this, the geometric feature based method analyze local features. So as I mentioned, if you have two images of the same person, but at different angles or different lighting conditions, now you want to analyze each and every pixel based on those two images. So holistic approach is where you extract pixel wise. So approach has a lot of techniques. So what it does is it's a kind of combination between your matrix and also the dimensional analysis. Then the holistic approach of a face recognition system is built. So these are your building blocks, I can say. So people started with matching, then moved to holistic approach. Now the model based. So as I mentioned in my previous slide, the state of art currently is the deep learning convolution neural networks. So it has machine learning, it has deep learning. Combination of these two will always give you the artificial. So appearance based are high dimensional vectors. So as I mentioned, hidden Markov model will be kind of three dimensional. One dimensional to your normal 2D images. A high dimensional vector is n dimensional. So if you have basics from linear algebra, you might have studied in vectors like you can convert array into an n dimensional matrix. So if you have basics from CNN, and all nodes will extract single pixel and try to compute the feature out of it. The sample images that are used for this kind of approach are called as a training set. So the database which we do, I've already mentioned in my block diagram as well. Once you save the data, detected data, so that is your training set. On the other hand, the model-based approach try to model base from the training set. You want to reconstruct it for your mix and match purposes. So yeah, the new sample implemented to the model and the parameters of the model are used to recognize the image. Yeah, as I mentioned, like once the facial features are reconstructed, you are doing the matching. So there we are using the relationship mathematical models. Still, these are valid. There are a lot of information, lot of improvements, and also a lot of research is going on in such, because these are efficient in computation. What I mean to say is like mathematics is simple, and you are able to establish certain level of accuracy in certain systems where there is no need of 100% accuracy. But still, there are research going on how you can improve these machines to the accuracy that this model based are giving currently. So yeah, the trends are like this. So coming to quick open source approaches which you can try, kind of recognizers which are currently available with these have the image processing APIs. You gain the capacity to work on deep learning neural networks. So this is how the things happen. Let's consider image as a matrix of values. I have 60 cross 60, 60 height and 60 width. So I have 3600 pixels in it. So how do I extract these eigen features? So it not only extracts the essential elements from the training data, but also saves memory by rejecting the less critical segments. So what I mean to say, the eigen features, there are features called eigen features. Systems are well enough or intelligent enough only to save the important features. So let's say, for example, I am teaching mathematics today. So that's one of the general example I would like get. This is also one of the mathematical approach, but it uses the discriminant one person from others. So if you just read through this sentence, it only again have the discriminant feature analysis, which I quickly said in my previous slides. For example, if you have two person and there are kind of features that you know that, okay, the features from person A and features from person B, histogram is nothing but the kind of features against the number of pixels which have such features. That's a plot. Histograms is a basic thing which you can study from your image processing. So just to give a brief intro, like both eigen and Fisher phases are heavily affected by your environment. Environment here, I mean light, all these kind of information that happens in your images. You're not comparing these minimalistic feature like eye, nose, how the color is, etc. But you go one depth into it. It tries to find the local structure. So there is a difference between feature and structure. Feature is just a pixel information. Structure is a holistic approach. How the structure of your nose is instead of what is the color of nose. So color of nose is like if you have 100 pixel of an image and 20% of it as having nose of a person. So you can just make sure what is the feature of nose. The nose color is dark skin color, something like that. What is the structure of that particular nose? Okay, it's straight or bent or something like that. So you're comparing like such kind of thing, neighboring pixel comparison. That's what the structure means. Local feature is just a single pixel. Local structure is single pixel plus the neighboring thing. So you are making a holistic approach out of. So these are the kind of quick approaches which you can try, and the demo which I showed you. So combining these two, I came up with that demo. As a human recognition is just a topic inside it. If you are really able to understand all the mathematical stuff that is happening, statistical things that we have to know to come up with such pipelines. So everything is associated with this kind of technology. The current Indian market have certain features, like if you see Tata cars, they are having these kind of watches, and driver management is basically you detect the face of that and you try to have these kind of ADAS features, the level 4 features like drowsiness detection. So camera will detect the face and try to figure out whether the person who is driving the vehicle is fatigued, is he feeling tired, is he feeling sleepy, so that it takes certain necessary actions. So these features can be found in Tesla Motors, basically. So if you can just Google it, you'll get n number of such features that are currently implemented using these technologies. And coming to banking domain, so you have payment systems. This is one of the example. Instead of using your fingerprint or debit card, credit card, just using facial recognition, which is associated with your bank accounts. So this is a recommendation system and tracing for surveillance. Recommendation, what I mean is, store recently opened in US called as Amazon stores. There is no cashier basically. Everything is done using RFID card, your facial recognition. So it recommends the pathway, the products which you want to buy, etc. We're actually building a database so that you will understand what is customer experience, what he is trying to buy, what is the demand, what is the supply. And surveillance is basically, you might have seen like there are a lot of theft happening in supermarkets. Applying such things, you can actually do the surveillance. Coming to crime and forensics. So detect a face, there are techniques called triangulation. Apply the technology, improve it, and you will able to find an analysis from the forensic department. So that while interrogation, you can have these kind of features without knowing to the culprit or a person who is in, and you can actually find the criminal intentions using his facial feature. Coming to medical domain. So again, patient recognition, keeping the history of that particular patient about his all illness, everything, so that you build up a consulting so that that can be shared across any hospital, any physician or clinics. But just for a notification kind of warning, these detection dataset systems cannot be used for your commercial purposes. It can be only used for projects or research based things, activities, but not for your public surveillance and you want to achieve as a commercial plot.